Let me introduce you to Sally the Scenic, our family car since 2014. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what it's been like for the past 8 years and if you should buy one. I'm Daniel Achterhuis and you are watching Daniel Drives. So before this car, we had a 2000 Volkswagen Beetle called Betty. And Betty was a lovely car, but as with most families, we grew to the point where a 3-door small Beetle really just wasn't justified. So we searched around for a new car, we looked at Vauxhall Marivas, Citroën Picassos, and eventually a Renault Scenic. And we were told it was a bronze Scenic. Trust me, I've said this on the channel before, it's not bronze, it is very much brown, okay? It is a brown car, don't get that wrong. And we've had it for 8 years. We didn't want to keep it for 8 years, but it's just sort of stuck around because we've really struggled to find an MPV for an affordable price that actually beats this generation Scenic for our needs. So we've done just over 70,000 miles in this car. So if you want to watch a review of the Scenic, this is the right one because we've had plenty of experience. And it's been 70,000 miles of pretty much trouble-free motoring. I know people really like to follow the French car cliche of they all go wrong and the electrics are an absolute nightmare, but strictly speaking, the Scenic for us has been a really trustworthy car. I know on social media I've had a bit of a moan in the past how it's a bit boring and the engine is gutless. We'll come to that in a minute or later on, but to be honest, as a family car, it's really suited our needs really quite fine. It's been a very, very good family car, and that's how I'm going to review it in this video. I'm going to review it as a family car, not as a sports car, because it's not one of them. It's a family car, and as one of those, it's really good. Now, sadly, like all good things, Sally the Scenic needs to go. We bought it in 2014, it's now 2022, I'm much taller, and yeah, things have changed. So this car does need to go, and we found a suitable replacement. Now, a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter have gone, Daniel, are your family mad for getting this car to replace the Scenic? And no, we're not in many ways. Yes, it's a much smaller car, but it's electric, our new car, and it's actually more techy, so in a way it is an upgrade, it's just a smaller car. Because if you are a regular subscriber to Daniel Drives, you would have seen in the community section and on social media as well that we have bought a Volkswagen e-up. Yes, we've gone back to Volkswagen, brilliant. And that'll be coming up on the channel in the near future, very near future, because it's coming in a couple of weeks. And this video is purely just to celebrate what a good car it's been. So what is this car? Well, I can tell you it's a 2010 Renault Scenic and it is top spec, it's top of the range. This is the privilege model, which makes a lot of my friends laugh when I say it's a privilege model because they think we're not privileged at all to have a Renault Scenic, which is quite funny, but I think we are in some instances. But this is the privilege, Dynamique, S-Nav, TomTom, call it what you wish. Renault really like their long names. It's got alloy wheels, it's got built-in sat-nav as I said, it's got cruise control, it's got automatic wipers, automatic lights. It's loaded with tech and not much of it's gone wrong really. So it's a very high spec car. And it being what, 12 years old now, it's still not too old fashioned inside. I really like the way it's set out. So I think now that's enough background story. I think we need to actually just review this car and talk about what it's like if you're in the market for one. So the engine, there's two engine choices for the Renault Scenic. You can go for a petrol engine or you can go for a mixture of diesel engines. You can go for a 1.5 diesel engine or a 1.9. And to be honest, they're all okay engines for what the car is. It's an MPV, so the engine doesn't need to be exciting. And this engine is fine, it is fine. So let's pop the bonnet and see what we've got, shall we? We'll give it a start up as well. And one thing I do like about this bonnet, whereas it's very heavy, it's got gas struts as well. So the bonnet just feels really light, even though it's not. So let's go in, let's give it a start. It's keyless start, keyless entry. You've just got to put your foot on the brake and start the car with the start-stop button. I've got it in gear as well, that's not a good start. There we go. So let me go back round. Renault Scenic engine, there we go, 1.5 litre diesel in this car, producing just over 105 brake horsepower, top speed around 115, 0 to 60 around 12 seconds. So really, it's not that bad. It's just a car with an engine. That's all it is. And we haven't really struggled with it at all. It's just had new glow plugs as well, and a new, I can't remember what it is actually. I'll put it in below. But really, it's been a clean running engine. It's just had a service as well actually. So this engine is really it's in tip-top condition really. And yeah, we've done 70,000 miles as I mentioned, so it's now on about 106,000, which is quite wild to think because we had it from quite early, 2014, when it was just a 4-year-old car. So yeah, the engine is fine. So stepping aboard our Renault Scenic, Sally the Scenic, what a great car. It's a very comfortable car to be inside. French cars, if anything, are very comfortable. You remember Citroën back in the day with a hydro pneumatic suspension and stuff like that. The Renault Scenic really is no exception. It is comfy. It doesn't have hydro pneumatic suspension, sadly. That would be very cool. I just imagine the car going up and down like that. But no, it is a very comfortable car. The seats as well, they're comfortable. We've done some really long journeys in this car, well over 1,000 miles in the space of a couple of days, going to the Netherlands and places like that. And really, it's been a comfortable car for us, a family of 4, and occasionally with our dog as well, and a load of luggage. It's been comfortable. It's got your cruise control, it's got your speed limiter, so you've got your driver aids, or maybe not driver aids because they get a bit annoying. So there's no lane assist, there's no automatic braking or anything like that, but that maybe isn't such a bad thing, because a lot of the time these systems that are meant to be safety features are just annoying more than anything and just cause more harm than good. And that's something our VW Up will have as well. It will have all of these things. So it'll be interesting to see what they're actually like to live with. And we had a Hyundai Tucson courtesy car at the start of the year, and you can check that video out on the channel as well. And that did have lane assist and all them features, and they were a bit annoying at times. I can see why cars have them, but most of the time I think they are just a bit annoying. So this car is simple, but it still has its tech. So I think I'm going to bring you in for a closer look, and I'll show you around some of the tech it does have. So let's start off with the climate control. So this is the climate control system here. It's none of the old-fashioned knobs that you get in some other MPVs. This is actually quite acceptable, really, this climate control system, and it's easy to use. It's not complicated like a lot of cars make it for some reason. It is just to hand. I know this is the problem with a lot of modern cars. I think the new Renault Scenic is a bit of a victim of this. Everything's so built into the screens and everything, to the point where you just want it as buttons. You just want buttons, and I really like buttons in a car. So you can adjust your temperature, it's dual zone climate control, you've got your fan speed, air conditioning, your demisters, stuff like that, blah blah blah. So yeah, this system gets my approval completely. It's nice, and it looks nice as well in the car. You've got your radio here. This is just your standard Renault system, so you turn it on by pressing the knob here, and then it comes up on the screen. I'll put some B-roll in so you can see it, Radio 2's playing. And again, the system in this car is good. I like it. I do really like being inside this car because the sound system as well is phenomenal. It's not Bose or anything like that, but it is phenomenal. My mum behind the camera will agree. She's nodding. Put for our Williams CD in or whatever you want, and my word, the bass is just, it blows you away. It's really, really good. CD player as well, as you get with most cars, but not most modern cars. That's another thing with modern cars. You don't get a CD player, which is a shame, but it is to hand. And also TomTom SatNav. That's another thing you don't see, but it's nice to have in the car. So down here you've got your control panel. It's not touchscreen, and you can put in your destinations. You've got your favourites, and you've got your recent destinations and stuff. And it gives you alternative routes, tells you where the traffic is, and it's a intuitive system to use, really. You put your SD card in, that's got the maps. So I think this car's actually still got the maps from 2014, but you can update it easily on your PC because it's quite outdated. It's quite funny driving around and it just not recognising where you are sometimes. But yeah, digital dash, you've got your digital rev counter, and also if I put the car on, you'll be able to see this better. There we go. You've got your digital miles per hour readout as well, and you can see where if your doors are open, your fuel gauge. It tells you how many belts are fastened. I'll have to put B-roll. I'm not sure if you can see this. Your range, average MPG, which is 40 at the moment, which is okay, I suppose. And it just tells you everything here. It's a good little system. 107,500 miles. Yeah, it's good. I like the interior of this car a lot, and it's spacious as well. So let's climb into the back and see what it's like back there. Climbing into the back of the Scenic, and the good news continues. It's spacious. Now my dad, he's 6'5", and me being travel sick and sometimes just not wanting to go in the back of a car, I spend my time in the front, and my dad, my poor dad, spends his time in the back with my brother. And for headroom, he's fine. We did have a climb around in a Renault Kadjar when we were contemplating getting one of them. Thankfully we didn't. And the headroom in the back of the Kadjar was really disappointing, and in this car it's fine. And again, legroom is fine as well. The seat in front is probably in my position, and I'm quite tall as well, probably 6'2", and I've got enough headroom as well. There's space for your feet to go under the chair. And another little party piece is you get this. You get what is actually really cool for when you're doing your McDonald's drive-thrus and stuff like that, or you go into a service station buying some grub. You've got your table, space for your drink. Now, one little niggle is the design of this cup holder. You can't really ever fit a drink in, so it's just kind of there for your chips to fall through. But it's okay. I like the way there's a table there. I like that. And you've got pocket down here, and you've got 2 other pockets up here. So it's all good news. But what's it like when you've got passengers? Well, we can find this out by using the Daniel Drives test. We're going to bring back the family of pandas. So let me introduce to you my special guests, Poe the panda and Pedro the panda. Yes, that's right. It's the return of Family Man Dan. Okay, it's time for a family holiday, and here I've got my brothers and sisters. So it's time for a road trip. We're off to the Netherlands to see the family, so let's get the kids strapped in. If your kids look like this, then I'd probably go to the doctors because they're not meant to. So let's strap Pedro in. Let's get the seatbelt down from the middle seat, down into that buckle. Oh my word. Strap Poe in. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. So this is a 5-seater, but if you do want 7 seats, you can opt for the Grand Scenic. I must mention that now. And I won't put my seatbelt on because I'm naughty, and it'll just fiddle with my microphone. And yeah, it's fine. Now, I'm going to compare this to the Hyundai Tucson that I last reviewed. I think the Tucson was more of a 4-seater plus 1, because you've got 2 full-size seats and then just a little bench in the middle. And that, sadly, is a thing that's been adopted with a lot of cars. This Scenic, because it's an MPV, not an SUV, its focus is just to carry the family, isn't like that. It has 3 full-size seats in the back. So no matter where you are, you're going to have space, and even legroom as well, because this is your centre console here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but that's on a rail, so you can slide that forwards and backwards. So legroom is fine, bum room is fine, and headroom is fine. It's all good news. Now, what's the boot like? Well, I can tell you it's very good. Now, not to SUV bash again, but a lot of SUVs, the boots are disappointing. The Tucson was okay, but most SUVs are not. Let's take the Captur, for example, which is a bit smaller than the Scenic, but it is still an SUV. And I think the Captur eventually is just going to overtake this, really, because that's what people want these days, sadly. It's sad to see MPVs die. But anyway, the boot is brilliant. It is very good. And what I like about the boot in this car is it is just square. It is just a simple square shape. You've got your parcel shelf, which raises up, and that's easily removable. And because this is our own car, I'm not going to chuck it into the forest. I will be nice with it. That just comes out like this. You put this in your garage, you do what you want, and you've got your boot there. And I know you're probably screaming through your screens, your televisions, or whatever, you're going to want me to get inside, so I will. So this is the Daniel Drives kidnapper test. If you want to kidnap people, I think really the Renault Scenic is for you. I'm quite happy in here, so I'm going to close the boot. I can't get out now. This is getting boring now. Is anybody there? Cameraman Mum, can you come save me? I think one thing we can gather from this situation is the person who buys this car is going to get a free car YouTuber with it. Yeah. So thankfully I've been let out of my little dungeon so I can show you another of the Renault Scenic's party pieces. So, excuse me while I go to the back door, and I'm going to show you that not only do the seats fold down easily with the flick of one switch, nice and easy, there we go, but they also fold again. Yes, that is right. So we've got the optional boot mat, so you can have that if you want, and it is a very nice thing to have, because if you've been transferring plants a lot recently like we have, that sounds really illegal, trust me, it's just like flowers and stuff, then you get petals and stuff everywhere, and it's just nice just to get rid of the petals by just removing the mat completely. So the seats fold up again, which I think is brilliant, because if you're doing a tip run and you've got quite a big item, then you just fold the seats up and then up again. and it's like folding the fold in the seats. And it is quite easy. It's if you've got the mat in the boot, which like we have, then it's a bit of a finger trap, but the boot is then absolutely massive and you'll have no problem with fitting things in here at all. And you can actually remove the seats completely quite easily by holding the handle here, and if you've got muscles, which I haven't, then you can lift the seats out because they're quite heavy. But if you're just going, say you're going skiing or something in France, which we haven't done in this car, and there's only 2 of you, then just remove the seats. Why take them with you? And you can put your skis in the boot and you'll be quite happy. There's a lot of storage in this car, as you can imagine, for a French MPV. Underneath the front and rear seats, you've got a drawer, and this is good for, like we have been doing, keeping your MOT documents and stuff like that, which you don't really need in today's day and age. But it's just a very nice place. And underneath your floor mats, you've got another storage cubby bin thing, which goes, yeah, it's in the floor of your car. And we haven't really used it, to be honest. It's one of them things we thought we'd use a lot, but we haven't because it's underneath a mat. But actually, it's been very useful. I'll tell you a story, viewers. I'll tell you a story. We went to Lincoln in this car, and we parked this car in a car park in the middle of Lincoln, and I didn't want... no, it was my little cousin. Didn't want to take his phone with him. So we left it in the car, and we actually left it in the little bin underneath. So obviously, you're not going to leave your phones and everything visible on the seat. So just stash them away in a little cubby holder where they're not going to be found, and your car won't get broken into. Genius. Burglars, I hope you're not watching this video. So with all of the important things out the way, like practicality and interior space, let's just go back to basics and talk about the actual design. Now this is the 3rd generation Renault Scenic. The 1st generation was okay looking. The 2nd generation was, again, it was okay, nothing impressive. This being the Mark III Scenic does look really good. Now this is the pre-facelift, so this doesn't have the bigger Renault badge at the front. It also doesn't have the LED lights where you have the fog lights. But it's fine. I really like the look of it. I'm stood behind the car, so let's just talk about the back design. These sort of 90-degree angle shaped lights, I like the look of them. I do really like the look of them. On the Grand Scenic, the 7-seater model, it goes down here and then out this way instead of this way. And I don't really like the look of that as much. It makes the car look a bit too long in a way. So I do like the design of this. And the colour of this, which is metallic bronze, it's not bronze, it's brown, I like it actually. When we first got it, I really didn't like it. I was like, for God's sake, I'm being dropped off at school in a brown car. That's not cool. But I've got to the point now where I'm boring. My friends know I'm boring, so I don't need to worry about being cool anymore. So I like the colour of this car. In fact, I'll say I love it. I would genuinely have our Fiat Panda 100 HP in this colour because it's really good. My mum's behind the camera and she's just pulled a weird face at me like I'm absolutely mental. And the chances of me actually getting a ride home later, very minimal. I think she's just going to leave me in a bush or something. But yeah, the colour of this car is nice. I like it. And the design, I like it a lot. Let's just go around the front and have a look what it's like over there. Round the front of Sally, the design continues very fluidly, which is not something I thought I'd ever say. But the design, it's nice. I like these massive headlights at the front because they're quite curvy and very clearly French. They're all about their safety. And while we're on the topic of safety, I believe this car actually got a 5-star rating, NCAP rating back in the day. NCAP now has gone a bit out of control with all of its safety, electrical systems and stuff, so it's less about the car's structural rigidity and more about the tech it has, which is a shame. But back in the day when NCAP was actually reliable, let's say, not to be controversial, this scored very high. But yeah, back to the design, I like it. I like the sort of silver trim that goes around where near the fog lights are and stuff like that. I do like it. And the windscreen as well, very, very visible looking in and out of. It's massive, absolutely massive. And while we're here, we'll do a wiper test. I'll bring you closer. So, wiper test of the 2010 Renault Scenic. How will it perform? There we go. Clap hand wipers. That is fantastic. Oh my word. I love clap hand wipers. 10 out of 10. So let's see how the Renault Scenic drives with this 1.5 litre diesel engine. We're on some nice roads, but we are going to drive sensibly because this is just an MPV. So there's no point in talking about steering feel and stuff like that because it's just not necessary. But I'm actually sat in the back while the camera is filming on the front seat. And it's because the camera is actually where my head would usually be, and that wouldn't be very safe in a crash. But it's just a comfy car. It is comfy, a lot comfier than the Panda, And when you've spent an extensive amount of time in the Panda and you get back into this car, you sort of breathe a sigh of relief because it's comfy. It's very comfy. The suspension is nice and soft, the seats are supportive, and overall it's just a comfy experience. So one thing I must mention is this 1.5 litre DCI engine is equipped with a turbo. Now that turbo is very good when it works. Now it obviously always works, but it just takes its time. You put your foot down and it's kind of going, do you really want to go fast? And you're going, yes, come on, give me some power. And yeah, the turbo lag is quite fast, let's say, but it's not a performance car, so you can't really judge it for that, but it's just something you've got to bear in mind. So yeah, overall, the driving experience of the Scenic is not inspiring in any way, but it just does the job. 6-speed manual gearbox, gets you through the gears. It's fine, really. It's just how I describe it. It's a fine car. So then, all in all, the Renault Scenic 3, third generation, 2010, Dynamique S-Nav TomTom privilege model, whatever it is, it's a very good MPV. That's how I describe it. It is just very good at its job, which is just transferring the family from schools to shops to all sorts of different places where you might go. And yeah, overall, it is a very, very nice car to be in. I like the comfort. I like the styling. I really love the colour. In terms of things I don't like so much, I personally wouldn't have it with the 1.5 litre diesel engine because it's not for me. Somebody like me who values driving, even though I can't drive yet, I think you want a bit more power, especially. Now, one Christmas we went to the Netherlands and we borrowed our family's Vauxhall Zafira, owned by my auntie and my uncle, and that has a 1.9 litre engine, diesel, with about 163 horsepower. And that extra 60 or so horsepower made a massive difference when you're trying to pull away, full up with luggage. And I just think a bigger engine in this car would be better, or even better electric, which is the next direction for us. So it will be a massive shame to say goodbye to Sally, because after 8 years, it's been really good. And we mustn't forget, this car has been around for half of my life. Half of my life. We got it in 2014, it's now 2022. And yeah, we can't really fault it. It's been good. So this is one of the last times you're going to see Sally the Scenic on Daniel Drives. It's been about a year the wait for this video. I've been saying for a long time a review of this car will be coming soon, so I'm glad it's done. And yeah, it's just nice to end the ownership of this car with something we can look back on in the future. But it's the end of something good and the start of something better, because very soon our Volkswagen E-Up, no Yorkshire jokes please, will be arriving, and that all will be documented on this channel, Daniel Drives. So make sure you subscribe to that, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And you can also follow me on social media at DanielCars05. So from me and Sally the Scenic, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.